Hi, welcome back to Action News on Channel 6.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Lila.
And today we want to talk to you about back alley bikes in Detroit.
The injustice we decided to cover today is the declining of the city of Detroit.
There are many organizations all over the area working to improve the city that they love. The declining of Detroit began many years ago due to numerous reasons. Factory closings, race riots, and segregation produced a loss of 600,000 people in the city of Detroit between 1950 and 1980.
36% of the city's population lives below the poverty level.
The residential vacancy rate was 27.8% in 2010. With less people paying taxes, the city struggled financially.
There is also no efficient form of transportation in the city. Since it is the hometown of the auto industry, the city invested much more into highways rather than public transportation and encouraged people to invest in a car. This means that people cannot travel throughout the city in a costly manner. In the 1980s, with federal aid, the city built the People Mover, a monorail that looped around 3 miles in the Detroit area, specifically downtown. The People Mover was criticized because it catered towards the people visiting stadiums and restaurants rather than the actual citizens of Detroit.
We were able to visit one of these organizations today, Back Alley Bikes.
I don't know, my bike is my best friend. It's even if you're alone, you're not alone because your bike is there with you. And so no matter where you go, no matter what you do, like you have somebody with you, and that's really nice. Like I'm really dependent on my bicycle, but I also feel like I can depend on it. If there's like this weird mutual trust relationship, but I know it's just a vehicle. We're a community bike shop, so what that means is we offer bike shop services, usually at lower than retail prices, or we do free education classes. In our case, we predominantly focus on free education for youth. So we have a really heavy focus on teaching youth how to rebuild bikes, giving bikes away for free to kids under the age of 18, providing job opportunities, job training to help youth in Detroit access the bike industry at large.
The very first time I came, because I wanted a bike, I didn't have one at the time. Well, I did, but yeah, it was bad. So I wanted a new bike and I came, and as I was going through the program, it was really informative, and I actually did like it, and I got a bike out of it. And I came back to Detroit in 2013, and I again wanted a bike, and I knew the people here. It had been a while, so I didn't even think anybody remembered me. So I came back up here and they was like, hey, I remember you. I was like, really? It's been 2 years. And it really made me happy that people actually remember me.
A lot of the time, being able to get a bike allows them to have a lot more freedom, socially and professionally. So kids often get a bike and then are able to go get a job, either in the bike industry or just because now they can ride to work. Detroit is very flat. It has a long history as a cycle city. It's only in the last few years that the bike industry in Detroit is even worth talking about.
The best thing for me, and probably for you too, if you're biking, would be the conveniency. You don't need to go through all the trouble and money that comes with a car. It's faster than walking. It'll help you stay in shape if you want to stay fit, and you can branch off to do a bunch of different things. We're basically just a back alley family.
If you ever find yourself
While we were there, we were able to tour the workshop and the warehouse. During our tour at Back Alley Bikes, we worked with Gerald on the left and Adam on the right. This part of the warehouse holds the bikes that are ready for donation. This is a more recent picture of the warehouse. They have received a lot of donations in the last few months with the holiday season approaching.
Be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of. What we are called.
After speaking with Adam, we were able to understand the mission statement of Back Alley Bikes more clearly.
Access to services, so not only getting people bikes, but getting people access to learning how to fix their bikes, because bike maintenance can get really pricey. Access to bike parts, any of that type of stuff, and then education of teaching people bike safety, and then also how to work on your bike just generally. So we have that access, sustainability. So it's really a big sustainable environmental push of just getting people, even our front end shop. Where it's all retail, everything in there is used with the exception of parts and stuff like that. So it's really just trying to reduce the waste of the bike industry and consumerism in general under capitalism. And then so we have environmental, and then what was the last one? Youth development. Yeah, just getting kids on bikes, getting kids access to outdoors activities, getting kids access to having a sweet bike to go to the BMX park at. What's up, Glenn? Glenn is probably the longest running volunteer here. He's been for 7 years here. He's been here for a really long time. And so that's pretty much our mission statement. So those are the 3 tenets.
Yeah. Each one of these individual workstations are meant to fit different sizes of bikes to fix them properly.
Each station allows for the volunteers and workers to have access to each tool needed in order to properly repair and take apart bikes. These stations are also where they hold the kids' classes and mechanics classes for adults each week.
You can count on me like 1, 2, 3. I'll be there.
Next, we were able to speak with Adam Phillips, one of the young men in charge. It's going to be, how does your agency meet a need that would otherwise go unanswered?
There's a huge community of bike riders in Detroit that, especially, I don't know how many bike shops were in existence, maybe 5-6 years ago, but 5-6 years ago, a bunch of bike shops started popping up in the city, but they were all catered to people who could pay thousands of dollars for a bike. It's not very inclusive and it's not very accessible. So our shop is really based around supporting that community and giving people access to bikes who otherwise may not have access to bikes, or even if they could buy from another shop. This is a far more welcoming shop. It's a much more diverse shop in terms of your clientele. It's not just kind of old rich people who are predominantly white. And a lot of guys are at other shops, and it's usually very intimidating for a lot of people to go into shops, intimidating for me to go into other shops, and I'm a white dude, so yeah, it's there's levels of privilege and levels of who has access to what, and we're kind of serving people who don't get served by other shops, or it's not specifically, those shops aren't for them, not that they're not for them, but.
In its programs, how does the agency avoid discrimination?
So we are open to everybody, as long as they don't discriminate against other people. Something that's often might get overlooked is people getting priced out of certain things, especially in Detroit right now. There's a lot of people who are getting priced out of their homes, priced out of different areas, priced out of different stores that are getting popped up in different areas. So this organization aims to maintain very low price points to free things for people, to kind of just make cycling as accessible as possible, and just make it explicitly as open as possible. Anyone can come in here if you want to come learn about bikes. We are here for you. Kids under 10, kids just get free bikes. Adults, there are pathways to get free bikes. It's pretty non-discriminatory. It's very non-discriminatory. In terms of every way, I guess that it could be. We have very explicit signage around the shop to be like, I mean, don't be like sexist, racist, homophobic, transphobic, like any of that. And all of our literature is very explicit about that, like hate and hateful comments are not tolerated here, and I'll kick people out if they are saying things like that. So that kind of to just maintain it as like a safe space for people to be here, and you know, serve the purpose of being a community shop, that it's like accessible for all community members.
What skills, education, or personality traits would someone have to work here or to volunteer?
So you definitely have to be really like open and nice to people and kind. Not that I'm like, oh, I'm so nice and kind, but it's just like, at the end of the day, this whole job is about like service to other people. Like, you don't come in here being like selfish or be like, oh, I want that, I need this, I need that, like, and being like not flexible with people. You gotta be able to understand people's situations and understand where people are coming from. Like, all right, maybe someone's getting really frustrated with you, but it's like, what's going on in their world that's like making them act this way to you, and like once you kind of get an understanding of that, it makes it a lot easier to kind of, I just seen if you're gonna walk in there, to work here. In terms of education, I would say my education has really impacted why I work here. My major was, majored in anthropology, did my master's in social science, but a lot of that was like learning about, the whole purpose of anthropology is like learn about like other people's worlds and like really understand people's worlds and how other people see the world. And like not even just from like an exoticizing point of view, but from a point of view of like accepting like, yeah, that's a legitimate way to see the world. And just being like open to people's things. And then, yeah, so that really, I don't think it's necessary, but it helped me personally, like kind of work here, I guess. And then also like just working at past community shops really helps. I mean, the main thing is just like being kind to people and open-minded, but then also, you know, kind of, you have to be strong when you have to be strong. Like if someone's like really being like racist or sexist, you gotta kick them out. Like you can't be nice to them.
Yeah.
Really, you can kick them out in a nice way.
Yeah.
But it's like you have to maintain this as a safe space, and you have to protect your people.
Now, Adam will be explaining the different programs that they have for youth and adults at Back Alley Bikes.
Wednesdays and Thursdays, we basically have adults come, and we do everything from scrapping bikes, organizing parts, building bikes. Those are pretty much the main three things we do.
The other one was Back Alley Bikes Allies.
Yep, so that's kind of like extreme volunteers who come in. But that's like the one where it's like, please don't reorganize anything, Glenn. Just leave it. People who come in more than 5 hours every month. Basically, they get allyship programs, so that's like you get credit towards here, and you just get like perks and stuff like that. And it's just like that you're an extreme volunteer and like really into this organization, which is awesome.
We had the opportunity to volunteer at Back Alley Bikes as well.
Know you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah.
We started off by moving bikes so that we could organize the space for the new arrivals.
If you're tossing and you're turning and you just can't fall asleep, I'll sing a song beside you. And if you ever forget how much you really mean to me, every day I will remind you. Oh, find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Yeah.
For another part of our volunteer work, we began scrapping the bikes, and we picked out parts that could be reused in other projects and also that could be recycled.
You cry. I'll never let go, never say goodbye.
VST principle that best fits Back Alley Bikes' work is call to family, community, and participation.
This principle fits best because the organization is built for the specific community that they are in, along with bettering the people that they serve.
We agree with the work that Back Alley Bikes is doing for their community.
To help this organization prosper, you can donate your time and also attend their largest fundraiser of the year, which is Bike the Blizzard.
Can't count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah.
Now we are going to turn it over to Erin Nicole.
Who is going to be interviewing Kenny Walters and Ron Alkus live in a different studio.
Really appreciate Michigan is by getting out and riding a bike every once in a while, but not everyone can afford one. But there's a way that you can help out this weekend. And join me this morning to talk about Saturday's bike drive is Kenny Walters from Kenny's Lake Area Auto Experts and Ron Alkus from the Shirt Box. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Now I know that we're calling it Saturday's bike drive, but actually you guys will be taking donations starting today. So tell us a little bit about exactly what you're doing here.
Yeah, we're collecting bikes for, it's called the Back Alley Bikes. It's a nonprofit in Detroit that helps kids learn how to repair, maintain bikes, and then earn a bike.
Oh, wow.
They're working in conjunction with the Hub, which is a operating bike store down there. It's in the Cass Corridor.
Okay.
And they sell used parts to people and new bikes and used bikes. And the Back Alley Bikes is the back end part that teaches the kids, educates them, lets them get a skill and earn a bike.
Very cool.
So basically, if you're under 10 years old, they don't train you. They just give you the bike. 10 and over, they learn how to maintain it, which is a
Okay.
great thing for biking.
So you've talked a little bit about that's Back Alley, learning
Correct.
how to maintain the bike, but tell us about this Earn It program.
Well, the Earn a Bike program is through Back Alley
Okay.
Bikes. It's their program. We're doing the donation for that, or the collection for them.
Okay.
They're the ones that do the Earn a program with the kids. I personally have never been there to experience it, but I'm going to go.
Okay.
But they learn, when they go in and learn how to fix and repair bikes, they earn a bike at that point.
Okay, so it's as simple as going in and learning how to repair one, and then just for doing that and helping put one together and restore it, these kids get to take one home with them as
Correct.
well. That's wonderful. So how will the bikes help these kids?
Well, it's going to give them transportation that a lot of them do not have.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be able to get them to go back and forth to school, get to the stores, get to their friends and their families' houses, get to where they need to do. Obviously, with wintertime here in Detroit, it might be a little difficult at that point, but
it's perfect timing also to ride your bike to school too.
Absolutely.
So the school just starting and everything like that. We've received over 40 bikes so far.
Wow.
So we really haven't even geared up. It's this weekend type of thing. But Kenny's received over
30.
35.
Okay.
So it's amazing. And believe it or not, I even received 2 new bikes that we were posting on Facebook and doing through our media, and people didn't have any small kids bikes, so they bought.
So now, is it just children's bikes, or if adults have some other bikes, they can donate those as well?
For sure.
Okay, so
yeah.
you'll accept any sort of
Right,
bikes.
because a 16-year-old.
Tricycles?
Sure.
Actually, I've got tricycles.
Okay.
Yeah. So
It's like I might have one of those I can probably
take
spruce up for you. Now tell us just how can people exactly get in touch with you if they're willing to donate a bike? I know that you said that you might even go pick them up if they're not too far.
Right, if they're not too far, I will be more than happy to go in my pickup truck and get their bike for them. I do have a rack on the back also for the bikes. I will be collecting on Saturday at Kenny's Lake Area Auto Experts in Walled Lake from 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock.
Okay.
The Shirt Box will also be collecting, depending on what time Ron says.
On Saturday, what time, Ron?
we'll collect today, Friday, Saturday, 9:30 to 6.
At your store?
At the store.
Okay, so if
Anytime.
people
And
stop by
Farmington
with a
Hills.
bike, you will gladly
Absolutely.
accept them.
Of course.
Thank you so much. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it and what
Thank
you
you.
guys are doing to make a difference and make sure that some of these kids get bikes that they deserve. All right, we're going to
Thank
send
you,
it over.
Erin. That's all the time we have for tonight.
Catch us live next Monday at 7.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Lila.
Good night to you all.